Hello, and welcome back to our Awakening Intuition video series, where we pull oracle cards once a month from my decks Awakening Intuition and Grief, Grace, and Healing. So today we'll be pulling cards for March 2025. And before we get started pulling cards, we're going to begin by doing a little intuition test. So if you watch these monthly videos, you're familiar with this. We're going to ask you to ask your intuition which of the 3 cards I'm going to pull today might be most helpful for you in March 2025 as far as navigating the month and taking care of your self-love, self-care, and mindfulness practices for the month of March. So there are a few ways that your intuition might give you the number of the card that will be most relevant for you. You might hear a number in your mind, like hearing the number 1 in your mind. That is the psychic pathway of clairaudience. You might see a number in your mind, like seeing an image, a visual of the number 2 in your mind. That is the psychic pathway of clairvoyance. Or another way your intuition might give you this number is you might just feel really called to a certain number. So when I say those numbers, 1, 2, 3, your whole energy body might just really be pulled to that number 3. Ooh, I get a lot of feelings about that. That is the psychic pathway of clairsentience. So right now, pause the video if you need to, and just take a moment and gently ask your intuition, what number might be the most relevant for me as far as the number of cards that Tanya is going to pull? Should you pay most attention to card number 1, 2, or 3? And don't put too much pressure on yourself because all the cards might be relevant for you, but this is a fun little intuition test. Another thing I like to do at the very beginning of these videos is just let you know what's going on in my world. As many of you know, I'm a professional intuitive and I am an author of many different books, decks, and a self-love calendar. And right now in March, I am having a soul care workshop. This is a new thing I'm doing in 2025. We did one in January on Synchronicity, and every other month this year, I'm going to do a different soul care workshop. These happen on Crowdcast, which is a fun platform. It's really easy to log on to it. And then if you want to, you can even chat with other spiritual seekers that are there live in the chat. If you can't be there in person, no worries. You can watch it again immediately after the class ends, and you can watch the video and even access the chat and go ahead and go into the chat if you're a chat person. If you're not, no worries. So the next soul care workshop is March 9th. That's just next week, next weekend. So if you're interested in this, go ahead and get yourself a ticket. The tickets are only $22. I'm trying to keep this price a little bit lower so that I can allow as many people that want to come into these every other month as they can. And the soul care workshop for March is about channeling creativity. So this is for people who are professional creatives and they want to learn how to get into the zone and kind of pull in with their intuition and be able to really channel more creativity to kind of increase the ease and flow of their creative output. Or if you're someone who is sensitive, like a highly sensitive person or an empath, creative hobbies are incredibly healing for sensitive people. So I'm also going to talk about, if you love creative hobbies, how can you create that? How can you make your creative hobby a kind of cocoon and sacred place where you can heal and kind of go into another world and ground yourself during your creative hobbies? So we'll look at having a creative hobby as a spiritual practice as well. So if you'd like to join me on March 9th on Crowdcast for Channeling Creativity, you can find a link below to sign up today, or you can also forward that link to a friend if you have a friend that might be interested. Now, another quick thing I do in the beginning of these sessions or these videos is I go ahead and I talk about the energy of last month. So February 2025 was really interesting. When I was pulling cards for February, I kept hearing from my angels and guides that could be a bit of an exciting electric month in some ways. So it was interesting for me personally. I did have a couple things that happened in the month that were really exciting. Things that were, just really put a smile on my face and really got that energy of, oh yeah, excitement going in my body. It wasn't necessarily, I think, an easy month for me. There was all the suffering we see going on collectively. I have family and friends that are going through hard times. And of course, I have my own issues that I'm always working on or dealing with in my personal life. So it wasn't like it was, oh my gosh, everything's perfect in February, but it was really nice to feel that excitement energy. So I hope there was something that happened in February, whether it was big or small, that you were able to feel excited about. Another thing that I really tuned into from the February cards we pulled, I pulled a card from my deck, Awakening Intuition, about grounding into the physical world. That was interesting for me in February. I found myself naturally wanting to get offline more. Really interesting, wanting to be outside more, even with my partner. Instead of kind of watching movies or listening to podcasts at night, we started playing board games together. It was all this stuff that was kind of in the physical world, face to face, two people touching these board games and playing. So that was really enjoyable in February for me, grounding in the physical world. The last thing I wanted to talk about from the February reading was we got a Synchronicity Flip from my calendar, A Year of Self-Love. This is my annual self-love calendar. And we'll be doing another Synchronicity Flip for March at the end of the video, so stay tuned. At the end of the video, I'm also going to do a little astrological radar report, so that's another fun thing to stay till the end for. But our Synchronicity Flip from the calendar for February was about having compassion for yourself, having sympathy for yourself in any way that you have had suffering recently or even in the past. So I think there was a bit of a feeling for me in February of wanting to nurse my own tender parts, or say, yeah, only I've walked in my shoes and I'm so proud of myself, and I want to give myself a little extra TLC for the difficult things that have gone on for me, as a human in life. And I also think we might have seen so much happening in the world that called out for compassion. You might have just felt more compassionate and wanting to send love or do something positive to the collective because you were really aware of the suffering that's out there for others. So that was some of what came up for me in February. And now we're going to pull cards for March. If you watch these videos, you know that the first thing we do is we pull 2 cards from Awakening Intuition. This deck has been so fun to be a part of. It has become a bestseller on Amazon. It's wonderful to see so many people wanting to learn more about their intuition and use it more powerfully in their day-to-day lives. So I'm really honored to be a part of that happening in the world. And as you know, if you've watched these videos, find your own shuffling method. What I do with my shuffling method is I go ahead and I warm up the cards with my palm chakras. So I hold I hold the whole deck this way, and then I set a gentle intention. We're looking for some messages. I keep hearing for March healing messages. Also, I'm hearing grace. We're looking for messages about how grace, or a benevolent force of mercy and compassion, can come into our lives to bring us some blessings, make things a little easier. So we're looking for 2 cards from this deck. And as you know, once I start shuffling, you're going to see a lot of cards start to fly around. I'm looking for one card that really just sticks up, stands out, and lets me know it wants to be picked. So here we go, pulling cards for the month of March. All right, so we got one card that stood up really, really high and strong above the others. That let me know it wants to be picked for card number 1. Ooh, love this card. If you picked card number 1, I think that could be really nice for March. Now we're going to go for the people who picked card number 2. Again, we're looking for a card to really stand out or stick out. Okay, there we go. We've got our second card. Again, it really jumped up above the others. This is really interesting. I'm getting a bit of a theme for March, which is nice. So that's card number 2 if you pick card number 2. Now we're going to go with my deck, Grief, Grace, and Healing. This is a lovely deck. It's a very soft energy deck. If you are grieving a loss, you're letting go of something in your life, or you're going through a time of change and transformation. Very gentle, soft energy deck that helps you connect with grace, that benevolent spiritual force I was talking about, that brings positive healing things into your life whenever you need that help or you need that transformation. And really, as I said, healing is a main theme of this deck. So because it's a gentle, soft energy deck, I do a little bit more gentle, soft energy pull style. Again, we're going to just warm it up with our palm chakras. And we are looking for kind of a quiet, still, gentle message. You know, I keep hearing there's like a stillness energy that's healing coming in March, and we're looking for something to help us with that sense of how stillness can be healing. So what we do with this deck is we go ahead and we let it open wherever it wants to open. Just let it fall open. This is so nice. Lovely, lovely card. If you picked card number 3, very positive card too. Okay, now what we are going to do is talk about each card real quickly so you can get the reveal. So if you picked card number 1 with your intuition, you picked release someone else's energy, and I'll read that card to you. Holding another's energy and emotions might look like trying to manage, change, contain, or control them. When another person's energy overwhelms you, separate in a healthy way. If you're lost in someone else's energy, mindfully focus on a different topic, spend time apart, perform a ritual of release, or speak to a caring counselor. This card number 1, release someone else's energy, is something that's really huge for sensitive people. As you know, a lot of my books deal with sensitive people. I have 2 books about empaths. I have a book about intuition. I have a book about earth angels. So if you're a sensitive person, it means that you're intuitive and you can feel other people's energy and emotions in your own system. So it's a wonderful way to go through life. Sometimes you can accidentally kind of hold or carry other people's emotions, or be a little too tuned into one person's energy instead of coming home to yourself and feeling a little bit more sovereign. So there's something coming in March, and I hear this is healing, where it might be if you're a sensitive person and you picked card number 1, you are going to get some new tools or strategies for how to release the energy of other people. I'm hearing so you don't have to carry that weight, whatever that is. And even if someone you know is going through a great time, a happy time, it can still be a lot to be feeling all that energy in your own system. So I'm hearing for sensitive people, remember it's a gift and a talent to be able to feel other people's energy. It's a wonderful thing to be able to do. But as I say in my book, Self-Care for Empaths, you need to learn how to toggle back and forth between absorbing and feeling and witnessing and observing. So this is going to be really healing for some people in March. I think they're going to learn some new tools for how to release other people's energy. And this could make you feel more buoyant, you feel more energized, you feel more relaxed. I think you'll really get an energy boost from it, is what I'm hearing most, because that weight will be lifted off you. So great for people who picked card number 1. For people who picked card number 2, you picked Rise Above for Eagle Perspective from the same deck, Awakening Intuition. The eagle animal messenger invites you above the treetops so you can see the whole expansive forest. Create healthy distance from a person, group, issue, opinion, stance, emotion, or situation by viewing the broader perspective while gliding on the broad wingspan of the eagle. Enhance your intuition by contemplating the entire landscape in multiple perspectives. This is so cool, and you can kind of see how there seems to be a bit of a theme in March with card number 1 and card number 2 of healthy detachment. How do we pull back and detach from others in a healthy way? And if you picked card number 2, how do we pull back from one perspective about our life, one perspective about a situation? Some of this might be, I'm hearing for some people who picked card number 2, not feeling like a situation is all right or all wrong, or a choice you made was all bad or all good. And I think it's going to help you navigate the future for people who pick card number 2 by pulling back and seeing a broader perspective that helps balance things. So when I wrote this card, I was talking about the eagle animal messenger. And if you think of eagles, they always soar so high above, they can see the whole landscape. So I'm hearing for people who pick card number 2, you might be getting some new perspectives on a situation, on a choice you made in the past, on a decision you need to make in the future, on a relationship you're in, on something about the world that is going to help you pivot in a healthy way. So this is a really good card to pull. Everybody, it seems like most people in this video are being called to kind of step back a little bit and be a little more sovereign and have a little bit more healthy detachment, not just around relationships and other people if you pick card number 1, but card number 2, having healthy space about your own opinions or your own judgment of situations. Maybe I don't know what's best, or maybe there's multiple choices here of what's best, or there's a lot of layers to this situation. So I heard for card number 2, people who picked that, this will be empowering for you to get those other perspectives or a different perspective. Now for the people who picked card number 3, so interesting, because I heard from my angels and guides before I started this call that there was going to be a lot of grace energy. Again, that benevolent spiritual force that comes in to help us and even guide us sometimes if that's what we're needing. Grace is there to fill in the blanks and give us what we need to keep going on our destiny. So when I pulled a card from Grief, Grace, and Healing, I kept hearing stillness. It's almost like people who picked card number 3, this might be more of a month in March where you're being a little more still, or you're not having to take immediate action on things, or you're not having to move fast. And it's funny because the card we pulled is mark the anniversaries. So, when you're marking an anniversary of something, you're kind of going back in the past and acknowledging how you're going back to a moment in the past and saying, I've come so far from where I was 6 years ago, or oh my gosh, my child is turning this age, or my partner and I are having this anniversary, or my parent just turned this age, or, for this card, for this deck, Grief, Grace, and Healing, it might be, I lost someone 2 years ago, and look at how far I've come in my own healing and transformation journey from that. I'm so proud of myself. So for people who picked card number 3, let me read this to you. Mark the anniversaries. Marking a significant anniversary can be healing if done in a manner that resonates with where you're at emotionally today. Honor how far you've come, connect with the spirit of someone who has passed, ponder the greater meaning, or savor a lovely memory. Mark anniversaries authentically, commemorating with others or reflecting solo. Healing memories ripple medicine back through time. So again, for people who pick card number 3, there's a slower, calmer, stiller energy for the month, but just honoring yourself, honoring how far you've come, honoring a healing anniversary, that ripples medicine back through time and even forward into the future. So give yourself those contemplative times to mark those anniversaries. Now we are going to do our Synchronicity Flip from my calendar, A Year of Self-Love. This calendar has been such another joy to come into my life. Thank you for everyone who bought it for 2025. You can still get a copy if you'd like a copy or like to gift one to your friends. I mean, my goodness, we're only in beginning the 3rd month of the year, so there's a lot more of 2025 to come, which is great. So again, we're going to hold this between our palm chakras. And whenever you do a synchronicity flip with a book or something like this that kind of acts like a book with a lot of pages, you're holding it and you're asking for a message for yourself that's resonant right now. You might have a specific question, or you might just hold a favorite book and flip, and say, give me a message, universe, give me a message, guides. This message won't be random. It will usually have some particular meaning for you. So we're looking for a message for March for everyone, and we're going to flip. Ooh, I love this. The message for March from the Synchronicity Flip is, the extraordinarily beautiful presentation of something ordinary can really elevate my mood. Oh, I love that. So for March, our message is, the extraordinarily beautiful presentation of something ordinary can really elevate my mood. So, for me, that speaks to beauty therapy. I think that's another thing that's really powerful for sensitive people. And beauty therapy doesn't have to cost any money. It could just be saying, I want to use the plates that I've got tonight and just set the table in a really beautiful way, or arrange the food in a beautiful way. Or I just want to go outside and look at this ordinary view of my garden, but really, set the intention with myself to see all the beauty in the ordinary. So whether it's just wearing your favorite t-shirt on the weekend, that you like the colors of it, or however you're kind of making the ordinary beautiful, or seeing the beautiful in the ordinary. I'm hearing from the angels, this can even just be your ordinary experience of a day. It might just be an ordinary day, but at the end of the day, you're like, wow, there were so many beautiful moments in that ordinary day of beautiful interactions with people or beautiful feelings I had. So thank you again for being here with us to get all the messages for March, and at the very end, I like to just throw a little bit of astrology into the mix. And I always remind you, I am not an astrologer by any stretch of the imagination, but I do follow it as a hobby. So for other people who follow astrology as a hobby, you know that all the astrologers are talking about what a big month March will be. There are, eclipses, there are retrogrades, there's all these kinds of things going on in the month of March. And I heard one astrologer say that it's almost as if the universe wanted to pack everything astrologically of 2025 into 1 month, March. So there could be a lot going on, even though there are a lot of retrogrades going on. Two things I wanted to highlight. One, I'm really attracted to how Mars has been in the sign of Cancer. It's moving direct now in the sign of Cancer. But again, Mars is how we take action in the world. It's how we feel assertive. It's how we go out and make things happen and be proactive. In the sign of Cancer, a lot of people might be feeling like they want to take action in the world around issues around their home, around issues of nurturing themselves and the people closest to them. Cancer likes to create this tight kind of inner circle. Also doing some healing work around your own emotions instead of always being focused on the outside world. And one thing that I really always notice about Cancer, it's a very maternal protective force. So you might just even feel like pulling back. Even though we're in the energy of spring and this new year, you might just feel like you're wanting to just kind of pull back, be at home. If you're feeling that way and that feels nurturing, go with it. That could be this Mars in Cancer that you're feeling. The other thing is we are in Pisces season, one of my favorite signs. The wonderful thing about Pisces is it's the most open intuitively sign. So it's a wonderful time to study intuition or to get into a creative hobby or just feel really open with your guides. So I didn't plan it this way, but I think the March 9th workshop, Channeling Creativity, Pisces season is a perfect time to learn more about how do I channel that great creative content from the universe and my guides into my projects. So thank you again for being here for March 2025 reading. We will be here again at the beginning of April. And in the meantime, if you would like to get any of my books, decks, or self-love calendar, there are links below to do that. Also, I'm a professional intuitive who gives readings to people all over the world. So if you'd like to get an intuitive reading with me, there are links below to do that as well. And I really feel like this message of grace keeps coming to me for March. Grace being that magical, mysterious, benevolent force that brings blessings, many miracles, more ease and flow into your life. You don't even have to ask for it or anticipate it. It just shows up. So I'm hoping there's a lot of really lovely grace moments for everyone watching this video in March. And remember, you can always count on grace. It's always working in the background, so you're supported that way. Take care.